Imagine a day where your ordinary, grueling shift takes an unexpected turn, placing a fortune, $10,000 in cold, hard cash, directly into your hands. What would you do? Most people might pause, might waver, might even consider keeping it. But for one struggling waitress, her instant decision, an act of quiet integrity, was about to trigger a chain of events so extraordinary, so life-changing, it would redefine her future in ways she never dreamed possible, proving that true wealth isn't always measured in dollars and cents. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The aroma of stale coffee and sizzling bacon was as familiar to Lauren as her own reflection. Dawn broke, not with a gentle, painterly blush, but with the harsh fluorescent glare of the 24/7 diner, a relentless sentinel against the city's slumber. Her shift at the daily grind had begun like any other, a rhythmic ballet of refilling coffee cups, wiping down sticky tables, and navigating the early morning rush of bleary-eyed commuters and regulars nursing their hangovers. Every clatter of ceramic, every mumbled order, was a note in the discordant symphony of her everyday existence. Life, for Lauren, was a series of meticulously planned, tightly budgeted moments, each tip a tiny victory against the tide of mounting bills. The worn soles of her sneakers, testament to countless miles paced across the diner's checkered floor, seemed to echo the quiet weariness in her own spirit. She was clearing table 7, a booth recently vacated by a man who had left a generous, if slightly crumpled, $20 bill under his plate, along with a half-eaten stack of pancakes. As she reached for the check presenter, something thick and dark caught her eye, nestled innocently between the red vinyl cushion and the table's edge. It was a wallet, an expensive-looking leather one, brimming with a surprising, almost shocking, bulk. Her fingers, accustomed to the flimsy texture of stray napkins and sugar packets, closed around the solid mass with an involuntary gasp. A quick, instinctive peek revealed a cascade of crisp $100 bills, neatly fanned out, each one proclaiming its undeniable value. Her breath hitched. $10,000, she estimated, a sum so vast it felt like an alien presence in her calloused hands. Alongside the cash, a driver's license and several corporate credit cards identified the owner, Mr. Julian Vance, a name that, even in her limited exposure to the city's elite, resonated with an unmistakable bass. Air of power and prestige. Julian Vance, the formidable CEO of Vanguard Investments, the name frequently whispered in hushed tones on the financial news channels she occasionally caught glimpses of during her rare moments of downtime. The man was a titan, a mover and shaker of markets, a distant, almost mythical figure from a world utterly removed from her own. For a fleeting, almost imperceptible second, a wild, exhilarating thought, a rebellious spark of what if, flickered in the periphery of her mind. $10,000. It was more than she earned in 6 months, a sum that could instantly erase the suffocating debt that clung to her like a second skin. It could fix her sputtering car, pay for her ailing mother's mounting medical bills, perhaps even afford her a week, just one blessed week, away from the relentless grind. The temptation was a physical ache, a whisper promising instant, illicit freedom. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the siren song of liberation. But the flicker was just that, a transient illusion, extinguished almost as quickly as it ignited. Lauren's moral compass, honed by years of quiet struggle and an unwavering belief in right over convenience, was far too deeply ingrained. Integrity, for her, wasn't a lofty ideal. It was a fundamental pillar of her being, a non-negotiable truth inherited from generations of honest, hard-working people. Her mother, whose gentle wisdom often served as her internal guide, had always emphasized that true wealth lay not in what you possessed, but in who you were. The thought of keeping something that wasn't hers, of benefiting from another's misfortune, felt like a betrayal of everything she stood for. It would leave an indelible stain on her soul, a far heavier burden than any financial debt. With a deep, steadying breath, she clutched the wallet tightly, the weight of the cash feeling less like a temptation and more like a solemn responsibility. Her gaze swept across the diner, her eyes settling on the worn, familiar face of her manager, Frank, behind the counter, wrestling with the recalcitrant coffee machine. He was a gruff but fair man, his weathered hands testament to decades of early mornings and late nights. He was the proper channel, the undeniable authority. She walked towards him, the wallet held discreetly in her palm, almost hidden by her apron. "Frank," she said, her voice steady despite the lingering tremor in her hands. "I found this wallet at table 7. It's full of cash, and it belongs to Julian Vance, of Vanguard Investments." She pushed it across the counter, the leather dark against the formica. Frank, a man rarely surprised by anything life threw at him, stopped wrestling with the coffee machine, his eyes widening slightly as he took in the thick stack of bills. His usual cynical expression softened into one of genuine surprise. Then a slow, knowing nod. "Vance, huh? Big shot. Good on you, Lauren. Most folks would have found 10 grand in their own pocket." He picked up the wallet, carefully examining the ID, his bushy brows furrowing. "We'll call his office. Or maybe the police if we can't get through. 10 grand. That's a whole lot of pancakes." Lauren felt a quiet sense of relief flood through her, the internal battle decisively won. She returned to her tables, her movements lighter, her focus back on the mundane rhythm of her work. The fleeting temptation had passed, leaving in its wake a reaffirmation of her own principles. The wallet, now safely in Frank's care, felt like a distant memory, a brief, dramatic interlude in her otherwise predictable day. She thought nothing more of it, dismissing the incident as a curious, if somewhat thrilling anomaly in the usual humdrum of diner life. The integrity she had displayed felt like a personal, private victory, not something that would ever ripple beyond the confines of the daily grind. She was simply doing what she believed was right, as she always had, a quiet beacon of honesty in a world often overshadowed by greed. A week later, the oppressive familiarity of her routine at the daily grind remained unbroken. The faint aroma of cooked grease clung to her clothes, a constant companion. The usual cast of characters, from the gruff truck drivers to the perpetually optimistic senior citizens, populated the diner, each demanding their familiar order. Lauren moved through it all with practiced efficiency, her mind occupied by the prosaic details of her life. The rising cost of her mother's medication, the ominous red flicker of her car's check engine light, the persistent fear of not being able to make ends meet. The wallet incident, though briefly exciting, had faded into the background, just another tale in the tapestry of diner stories, quickly replaced by new spills, forgotten orders, and minor workplace dramas. Then, Tuesday arrived, a day that would forever be etched in the annals of the daily grind's otherwise unremarkable history. The morning rush was just beginning to swell, the rhythmic clatter of plates and the hiss of the espresso machine reaching a crescendo, when a sudden, collective gasp rippled through the diner. Heads swiveled, conversations died mid-sentence, and even Frank, usually unflappable, dropped a stack of menus with a resounding clatter. Outside, bathed in the harsh, unforgiving light of the urban morning, sat a vision of automotive brilliance. A sleek, obsidian-black luxury SUV, its chrome gleaming, its presence utterly out of place amidst the dented sedans and rusted pickups of the diner's parking lot. But it wasn't just the car's undeniable opulence that commanded attention. It was the giant, ridiculous, yet utterly festive red bow tied meticulously to its hood, a ribbon of crimson against the polished black paint, as if announcing a grand, inexplicable gift. A hush fell over the diner. Customers pressed against the grimy windows, their faces a mixture of awe and bewilderment. Frank, momentarily stunned, adjusted his glasses, peering out with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "What in tarnation?" he muttered, his voice trailing off, as a tall, impeccably dressed man in a dark suit emerged from a discreet black sedan that had pulled up behind the SUV. The man, with an air of understated authority, carried a large, elegantly wrapped gift box. He walked directly towards the diner's entrance, his gaze sweeping the room with a polite but determined intensity. He paused just inside the doorway, his eyes scanning the faces, then settled on Lauren, who stood frozen mid-stride, a coffee pot suspended in her hand, her mouth slightly agape. His expression softened, a professional smile gracing his lips. "Lauren Monroe?" he inquired, his voice smooth and cultured, cutting through the stunned silence. Lauren, her heart suddenly pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs, managed a shaky nod. "Yes, that's me." A strange premonition, a flutter of unease mixed with inexplicable excitement, stirred within her. The man smiled, a genuine warmth in his eyes. "My name is Arthur. I'm Mr. Julian Vance's executive assistant. He asked me to deliver this, personally." He gestured towards the black SUV with the grand red bow, then extended the gift box towards her. "And this, of course, is from him as well." Lauren's eyes darted from the man to the magnificent vehicle outside, then back to the gift box. Her mind raced, grappling for an explanation. Could this be a mistake? Is this some kind of elaborate prank? The sheer unreality of the moment made her stomach clench with a mixture of fear and disorienting hope. She took the box, her fingers trembling slightly. It was surprisingly heavy, wrapped in thick, luxurious paper. "Mr. Vance asked me to convey his deepest gratitude," Arthur continued, his voice resonating with sincerity. He was incredibly relieved to have his wallet returned, particularly with the, considerable sum of cash intact. He recognizes that such honesty is, regrettably, a rare commodity these days. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the astonished faces of the diner patrons, then back to Lauren. He wanted to express his appreciation in a way that, he felt, truly reflected the value of your integrity. Lauren could only stare, her mind struggling to process the enormity of the situation. The car outside, the bow, the assistant of a billionaire standing in her diner, speaking of her integrity. It was all too much, too surreal. Frank, who had approached cautiously, his face a roadmap of bewilderment, finally found his voice. "Arthur? Julian Vance's Arthur?" he stammered, his eyes wide. He knew of Arthur, a name whispered in the local business circles as a man who wielded immense behind-the-scenes power. Arthur offered Frank a polite nod. "That's right, and I must say, Mr. Vance was particularly impressed by the swiftness and discretion with which the wallet was returned. It truly stood out." Lauren, still clutching the gift box, felt a blush creep up her neck. All eyes in the diner were on her, a mixture of awe, envy, and sheer disbelief etched onto every face. She felt exposed, yet oddly elated. The weight of the box in her hands felt like a tangible representation of the turning tide in her life. This wasn't just a thank you. It was something far, far more significant. "The car," Arthur explained, gesturing subtly towards the SUV, "is registered in your name, Ms. Monroe. It's entirely yours. The keys are inside, along with a small, personal note from Mr. Vance in the sucker glove compartment." He offered her a final, warm smile. "Please enjoy it. Mr. Vance wishes you all the very best, and he truly hopes it conveys the depth of his gratitude." With that, Arthur gave a small, respectful bow and turned, exiting the diner as quietly and efficiently as he had entered, leaving behind a profound, almost electric silence. Lauren stood rooted to the spot, the gift box still in her hands, the coffee pot forgotten. Her gaze drifted to the diner windows, to the gleaming black SUV, its red bow a beacon of impossible generosity. A brand new car. For her. Just for turning in a wallet. It felt like a dream, a fantastical scene plucked from a movie, utterly disconnected from the drab reality of her life. Frank, recovering from his shock, clapped her on the shoulder, a wide, genuine grin splitting his face. "Lauren, a brand new car. For you. I knew you were a good egg, but this is something else." His excitement was contagious, drawing a murmur of congratulations and envious sighs from the stunned patrons. Lauren's mind, however, was already racing beyond the shock, beyond the sheer, unbelievable gift of the car. Her fingers fumbled with the wrapping on the gift box, tearing at the luxurious paper. Inside, nestled in a bed of tissue, was a small, exquisitely crafted wooden box. She lifted the lid, and there, on a velvet cushion, lay a single, gleaming, perfectly cut diamond necklace, shimmering with an almost ethereal light. It was breathtaking, a piece of jewelry so far beyond anything she had ever owned, or even dreamed of owning. that it felt like a relic from another world. The necklace wasn't just beautiful. It was symbolic, a tangible representation of the immeasurable value Julian Vance had placed on her integrity. A value, he had evidently decided, was truly beyond monetary compensation. Her quiet act of honesty had not only cleared her conscience, but it had, in the most unexpected and extraordinary way, rewritten the entire trajectory of her humble life. The diamond necklace, nestled in its elegant wooden box, felt impossibly heavy in Lauren's trembling hands. Its facets caught the harsh fluorescent light of the diner, scattering shimmering rainbows across the formica counter. It was beautiful, undeniably, but its value, its sheer opulence, felt alien, a stark contrast to the utilitarian world she inhabited. She imagined the price tag, a number so astronomical it would dwarf her entire annual income. It was a gift that screamed billionaire, a silent testament to Julian Vance's seemingly boundless wealth and his singular way of expressing gratitude. Frank, still beaming, shook his head in awe. "A diamond necklace, Lauren? And a new car? This Julian Vance doesn't mess around, does he? You hit the jackpot, kid. You absolutely hit the jackpot." His voice, though genuinely happy for her, carried a hint of wistful disbelief, as if he, too, was struggling to reconcile this Cinderella moment with the familiar reality of their diner. Lauren could only nod, her mind a dizzying whirl. The sheer extravagance of it all was overwhelming. She had expected, perhaps, a generous cash reward, a bonus for her honesty, maybe even a polite thank you note. But this? A brand new luxury SUV and a diamond necklace? It was a level of generosity that bordered on the surreal, a demonstration of wealth so vast it warped the very fabric of her understanding. Her gaze drifted back to the black SUV, still parked conspicuously outside, the ridiculous red bow proclaiming its presence to the entire world. It was a beacon of change, a tangible monument to a shift in her destiny. Yet it felt strangely intimidating, almost threatening in its sheer grandeur. How was she, Lauren Monroe, the struggling waitress, supposed to drive a car like that? Where would she even park it? It felt like putting a priceless masterpiece in a dilapidated shed. She closed the wooden box, tucking the necklace away, a subtle movement that conveyed her discomfort with its blatant opulence. The car was one thing, a practical gift, albeit an absurdly luxurious one. The necklace, however, felt like a silent, demanding presence, a jewel that belonged in a different life, a different world. "I need to go outside," she murmured to Frank, her voice a little breathless. "Just to see it properly." Stepping out of the diner, the crisp morning air felt colder, sharper. The SUV loomed, a sleek, powerful beast, utterly out of place. She walked slowly towards it, her footsteps hesitant, almost reverent. The paint was flawless, reflecting the sky like a dark mirror. She ran a tentative hand over the cool metal of the hood, a strange blend of awe and disbelief washing over her. This was real. This was happening. She walked around to the driver's side, her heart pounding. The door opened with a soft, expensive thud, revealing an interior of supple leather, polished wood, and gleaming chrome. It smelled new, of luxury and possibility, a stark contrast to the faint scent of fryer oil that usually clung to her. The keys were indeed in the ignition, gleaming, and on the passenger seat, a simple cream-colored envelope. Her hands, still slightly trembling, reached for the envelope. It was thick, heavier than she expected, and sealed with a formal wax seal bearing an intricate, almost regal crest. Her name, Lauren Monroe, was elegantly scripted on the front. This was the small, personal note Arthur had mentioned. This was the true message, the real reason for the extraordinary display. She tore open the seal, her fingers fumbling slightly. Inside, a single, heavy card, embossed with the same crest. Her eyes scanned the elegant script, her breath catching in her throat as she read the words that would irrevocably alter the course of her life. "Dear Ms. Monroe, your act of returning my wallet, with its contents fully intact, was not merely an act of honesty. It was a profound demonstration of character, a quality I value above all else. In a world where integrity is often compromised for personal gain, your actions shone brightly, a beacon of unwavering principle. It is a rare and precious commodity, one that money, as you have so eloquently proven, truly cannot buy. The car, and the small token of my appreciation, are merely a symbolic gesture of my immense gratitude. However, my true intention extends beyond simple thanks. I am always seeking individuals of exceptional character, vision, and a deep commitment to positive change. I have been informed of your dedication, your work ethic, and your quiet resilience. My family foundation, the Vance Philanthropic Initiatives, is expanding its operations significantly, focusing on sustainable development projects and educational reform globally. We are looking for an executive coordinator to manage our new outreach programs and assist directly with strategic planning and donor relations. This is a crucial role, demanding meticulous organization, a keen mind, and, most importantly, the kind of unwavering integrity you possess. The position offers a starting salary in the high six figures, comprehensive benefits, and ample opportunities for global travel and professional growth. We understand this is a significant career change, but I believe your unique perspective, your grounding in real-world challenges, and your demonstrated moral compass would be an invaluable asset to our mission. Please find a formal invitation enclosed, detailing the role and next steps. My team will reach out to you within the next 48 hours to discuss this further at your convenience. I sincerely hope you will consider joining us. I believe our shared values could lead to truly impactful work. With deepest respect and anticipation, Julian Vance, CEO, Vanguard Investments Chairman, Vance Philanthropic Initiatives. Lauren reread the letter, her eyes tracing the words, then rereading them again and again, as if to confirm their existence. High six figures. Executive Coordinator. Julian Vance's Foundation. It wasn't just a thank you. It was a career, a future, an unimaginable leap from the diner to a world she had only ever glimpsed through tabloid headlines. The diamond necklace, almost forgotten, seemed to hum with a new, profound significance, no longer an alien object but a symbol of a destiny irrevocably altered. The car, gleaming in the morning sun, no longer felt intimidating, but empowering. A chariot carrying her towards an entirely new life. Her breath hitched, tears blurring her vision, not of sadness, but of overwhelming, unbelievable possibility. The world outside the diner's grimy windows shimmered with an almost hallucinatory clarity. Lauren's hands, still clutching Julian Vance's letter, trembled not from fear, but from the seismic shock of disbelief. High six figures. Executive Coordinator. It was a symphony of words that played a dizzying, intoxicating melody in her mind, a stark counterpoint to the familiar discordant hum of her reality. She was a waitress, a woman whose life had been dictated by tips and shifts, by the relentless pursuit of financial solvency. This was an entirely different universe. Frank, ever observant, cautiously approached the car. "Lauren, you all right? What's in the letter?" His voice was laced with a mixture of concern and unbridled curiosity. The entire diner, it seemed, held its collective breath, eyes glued to the unfolding spectacle. Lauren slowly turned, her face a canvas of disbelief, wonder, and a profound, almost spiritual awe. She held out the letter, her voice a whispered rasp. He wants me to work for his foundation, as an executive coordinator, high six figures." Frank's jaw dropped, a half-formed word caught in his throat. He snatched the letter, his eyes scanning the contents, then snapped them back to Lauren, his face a mixture of unadulterated shock and triumphant pride. "Holy smokes, Lauren! A foundation! High six figures! That's incredible! You deserve it, every penny. That's what you get for being honest." His booming voice, usually reserved for barking orders, carried through the open diner door, eliciting another wave of gasps and excited murmurs from the now thoroughly captivated audience. Lauren's head spun. The morning had delivered not just a car, not just a diamond, but a complete, unadulterated, unexpected overhaul of her entire existence. The immediate practicalities crashed in: her current job, her rent, her mother, How could she possibly transition from serving coffee and pancakes to managing a global philanthropic initiative? The sheer scale of it was daunting, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. She retreated back inside the diner, seeking refuge from the public spectacle, the whispers following her like a tangible presence. She found a quiet corner near the staff entrance, away from the hungry stares and the buzzing murmurs. She pulled out her phone, her thumb hovering over her mother's contact. Her mother, whose health struggles had been a constant source of worry, whose unwavering belief in Lauren had been her bedrock. This news, this impossible dream, would mean everything to her. It would mean peace of mind, access to better care, and the end of the constant gnawing fear of not being able to provide. The call was brief, punctuated by her mother's stunned silence, then a choked sob of pure, unadulterated joy. "Oh, Lauren, my darling girl," her mother's voice quavered, tears evident even through the phone line. "I always knew you were meant for great things. Your honesty, your goodness, it always shines through. This is a blessing, an absolute blessing." Her mother's reaction grounded her, cutting through the dizzying haze of the unexpected. It wasn't about the money, not entirely. It was about the validation, the recognition of her inherent worth, the quiet acknowledgement that integrity, in the truest sense, carried its own profound reward. It was a testament to every sacrifice, every late night, every moment of doubt she had pushed through. Over the next 48 hours, as Julian Vance's letter promised, the world of the daily grind collided head-on with the meticulous, high-stakes world of Vanguard investments. Arthur, Vance's executive assistant, was professionalism personified. He arranged a discreet meeting, not at the diner, but at a quiet, unassuming cafe downtown, far from the inquisitive eyes of her former colleagues. Lauren arrived, dressed in her best, albeit modest, interview clothes, her nerves a jangling mess. Arthur, however, put her immediately at ease. He spoke not of financial acumen or high-level strategy, but of character, of the Foundation's mission, of Julian Vance's deep-seated belief in integrity. "Mr. Vance," Arthur explained, his voice calm and reassuring, "is not looking for another Ivy League MBA with a perfect resume. He's looking for someone with a moral compass, someone who understands the true value of human connection and impact. Your actions resonated deeply with him, Ms. Monroe. He believes you possess the empathy and the practical understanding of real-world challenges that many in our world often lack." The conversation was less an interview and more an exploration of shared values. Arthur explained the scope of the Vance philanthropic initiatives, detailing projects ranging from microfinancing in developing nations to educational programs in inner-city schools. Lauren found herself speaking with an unexpected ease, sharing her own experiences, her insights into the struggles of everyday people, her deeply held belief in the power of education and opportunity, her observations, born from direct experience rather than theoretical models, seemed to genuinely impress Arthur. He detailed the responsibilities of the executive coordinator, managing complex international projects, liaising with global partners, overseeing budgets, and directly assisting Julian Vance in shaping the Foundation's strategic direction. The learning curve, he admitted, would be steep, but the resources and support would be boundless. "Mr. Vance," Arthur concluded, "has absolute faith in your ability to rise to this challenge. He wouldn't have offered you this role if he didn't." Leaving the cafe, Lauren felt a burgeoning sense of confidence, replacing the initial trepidation. This wasn't a handout. It was an opportunity, a profound recognition of a unique skill set she hadn't even realized she possessed. She had always prided herself on her organizational skills, her ability to manage multiple tasks under pressure, her quiet empathy, and her unwavering dedication. Now, these qualities were not just assets for surviving Grell. They were the very foundation of an unimaginable future. Her resignation at the daily grind was met with a mixture of sadness and exhilarated congratulations. Frank hugged her tightly, his eyes glistening. "Go get 'em, Lauren. Make us proud." Her fellow waitresses, some envious, but most genuinely thrilled, threw her a small, impromptu farewell party. showering her with well wishes and tearful goodbyes. It was a bittersweet departure, leaving behind the comforting familiarity of her old life, but stepping with determination into the thrilling unknown. The new car, initially a symbol of overwhelming luxury, quickly became a tangible representation of her transition. Driving it felt liberating, exhilarating. It wasn't just transportation. It was a vessel carrying her towards a new destiny, each mile separating her further from the confines of her past. She took her mother for a drive, the older woman gazing out the window with wide, tear-filled eyes. A silent testament to the dreams suddenly made real. The day she officially started at the Vance Philanthropic Initiatives office was a blur of gleaming glass, hushed hallways, and sophisticated technology. Her new BIA office, spacious and elegantly appointed, overlooked the city skyline, a stark contrast to the cramped break room of the diner. Her new colleagues, a diverse group of highly intelligent and dedicated individuals, greeted her with warmth and genuine enthusiasm, clearly aware of her unique story and the reputation for integrity that preceded her. Julian Vance himself greeted her on her first morning, a warm, genuine smile on his face. "Welcome, Lauren," he said, his voice resonating with an almost paternal warmth. "We're truly honored to have you join us. I trust Arthur has given you a comprehensive overview. The learning curve will be steep, but I have no doubt you will excel. Your unique perspective, your grounding in the real world, is precisely what this foundation needs to connect effectively with the communities we aim to serve." He then did something utterly unexpected. He pulled out a small, elegantly framed photograph from his desk. It was a picture of a young girl, no older than 10, holding up a small leather-bound wallet, a wide, joyful smile on her face. "This," he explained, his eyes softening, "is my daughter, Sophia. That's the wallet you returned. She had given it to me as a gift, and it held immense sentimental value. You see, Lauren, your honesty didn't just return a sum of money. It returned a cherished memory. And for that, I am eternally grateful." Lauren felt a lump form in her throat. It was a reminder that even the most powerful individuals had personal vulnerabilities, sentimental attachments. Her act of integrity, seemingly small and insignificant at the time, had resonated on a deeply personal level, far beyond the monetary value. It affirmed her belief that true impact often began with the simplest, most human gestures. Her first few weeks were a whirlwind of information, of acronyms and protocols, of understanding the intricate web of global philanthropy. She absorbed everything with a fierce determination, spending evenings poring over reports, researching international development models, and familiarizing herself with the Foundation's extensive portfolio of projects. The work was challenging, stimulating, and profoundly rewarding. She was no craft longer, simply serving. She was shaping, influencing, directly contributing to initiatives that had the power to change lives on a global scale. One afternoon, Julian Vance called her into his expansive office. He gestured for her to burr. "Sit," a thoughtful expression on his face. "Lauren," he began, "I've been reviewing your initial assessments of our upcoming educational initiative in rural Ghana. Your insights into the practical challenges of implementation, particularly concerning community engagement and sustainable resource management, are incredibly astute. You've identified potential pitfalls that our more academic strategists overlooked. It's clear your lived experience gives you a unique advantage." He leaned forward, his gaze intense. "I'd like you to lead the on-site assessment team for the Ghana project. It will involve a month-long trip, working directly with local communities, governmental agencies, and our implementation partners. It's a significant undertaking, demanding both leadership and diplomacy. Are you willing to take on this challenge?" Lauren's heart leaped. Ghana. A month-long trip. Leading a team. It was a dizzying leap from the diner, a testament to the trust Julian Vance was placing in her. This wasn't just a job. It was a mission, the direct application of her newfound purpose. "Yes, Mr. Vance," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. "I am absolutely willing. I would be honored." The Ghana trip, weeks later, proved to be a transformative experience. She immersed herself in the local culture, learning from community leaders, understanding the nuances of their challenges and their aspirations. Her innate empathy, her ability to connect with people from all walks of life, proved invaluable. She wasn't just a representative of a powerful foundation. She was a partner, a listener, a facilitator. She discovered a deep well of resilience within herself, a capacity for leadership and problem-solving she hadn't fully recognized. One evening, sitting under a vast star-dusted African sky, Lauren reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. From the mundane grind of the diner to the sprawling, impactful work of a global foundation. Her life had been irrevocably altered by a simple act of honesty. The initial shock had given way to a profound sense of purpose, a deep gratitude for the opportunity to leverage her unique talents for the greater good. Diamond necklace, still tucked safely away, no longer felt like an alien object, but a luminous reminder of the immeasurable value of integrity, a value that had truly, undeniably, opened the door to a life beyond her wildest dreams. She was no longer just Lauren, the waitress. She was Lauren, the changemaker, embarking on a remarkable new chapter, her moral compass guiding her every step of the way. The Ghanaian sun beat down, a benevolent but insistent presence, baking the dust into a fine reddish powder that coated everything. Lauren, dressed in light, practical clothing, felt a profound connection to the earth beneath her feet, a stark contrast to the gleaming, sterile offices she'd left behind in the city. Her month-long assignment as the lead for the educational initiative had been a masterclass in adapting, in understanding the delicate interplay of culture, resources, and human aspiration. She navigated bustling markets, her senses alive to the vibrant colors, the rich aromas of spices, and the rhythmic pulse of local music. She met with village elders, her conversations marked by respectful listening and a genuine desire to comprehend their unique challenges and wisdom. She sat with mothers, their faces etched with a blend of hope and hardship, discussing the profound impact access to education could have on their children's futures. Her initial fear of the unknown, of leading a complex international project, had dissolved into a focused determination. She learned to communicate across language barriers with patience and ingenuity, to mediate disagreements between various stakeholders with diplomacy and fairness, and to find creative solutions to logistical hurdles that would have stumped many a seasoned executive. Her background, once seen as a humble origin, now provided a unique lens through which to view development challenges. She understood the intricacies of resource scarcity, the quiet dignity of hard work, and the profound impact even small, targeted interventions could have on a community. One particularly memorable afternoon, she visited a newly constructed school, funded partly by the Vance philanthropic initiatives. As she watched the children, their faces alight with curiosity and excitement, eagerly absorbing lessons in a brightly painted classroom, a wave of profound emotion washed over her. It wasn't just a building, it was a sanctuary of opportunity, a beacon of hope in a remote village. The knowledge that her efforts, born from a simple act of honesty, had directly contributed to this tangible transformation, filled her with a sense of purpose far deeper than any financial reward. The high six-figure salary, once a fantastical dream, now felt like a secondary benefit, a means to enable this truly meaningful work. Her insights from the Ghana trip were invaluable. Upon her return, Julian Vance listened intently as she presented her detailed findings, her voice articulate and impassioned. She spoke not just of budgets and timelines, but of the human stories, the resilience of the local communities, and the subtle cultural nuances that could make or break a project's success. She recommended adjustments to the Foundation's strategic approach, advocating for greater community involvement in decision-making and for tailored educational curricula that resonated with local needs and aspirations. Vance, usually a man of carefully guarded expressions, leaned back in his chair, a rare, genuine smile gracing his lips. "Lauren," he said, his voice filled with admiration, "your report is exceptional. Your understanding goes beyond the numbers. It delves into the heart of the matter. You have a unique gift for connecting with people and truly comprehending their needs. It's precisely the kind of insight this foundation requires to achieve its ambitious goals." He paused, his gaze thoughtful. Your role as executive coordinator has been exemplary, but I believe your talents are destined for an even greater impact. I'd like to propose a new position for you, Director of Global Outreach. This would put you in charge of overseeing all our international development projects, giving you broader strategic oversight, a larger team, and direct reporting to me and the board. It's a significant leap in responsibility, Lauren, but one I am absolutely confident you are ready for. Lauren felt a surge of exhilaration, followed by a familiar tremor of awe. Director of Global Outreach. It was a title that resonated with immense responsibility and unparalleled opportunity. This was not just a job. It was a calling, a chance to truly shape the lives of millions, to steer the course of philanthropic endeavors on a global scale. Mr. Vance, she said, her voice steady despite the rapid beat of her heart. I am honored. I accept. The promotion, announced internally a few weeks later, solidified her position within the Vance philanthropic initiatives. Her colleagues, recognizing her talent and her quiet leadership, offered genuine congratulations. She earned their respect, not through hierarchical power, but through her demonstrable competence, her collaborative spirit, and her unwavering dedication to the Foundation's mission. She seamlessly transitioned into her new role, her days filled with international calls, strategic planning sessions, and the careful cultivation of relationships with partners across continents. Her personal life, too, underwent a profound transformation. The financial freedom afforded by her salary allowed her to provide her mother with the best possible medical care, alleviating a burden of worry that had shadowed her for years. She moved into a comfortable, modern apartment, a quiet sanctuary from the bustling demands of her new career. The diamond necklace, once a symbol of overwhelming luxury, now lay often unworn in its box, a private reminder of the moment her life had irrevocably changed, a quiet testament to the unexpected paths integrity could forge. The car, no longer an intimidating symbol, became a reliable companion, whisking her efficiently to meetings, airports, and occasionally, unreflective drives to the quiet solace of nature. Lauren also dedicated a significant portion of her time to mentorship. She recognized the profound impact Julian Vance had had on her life, the willingness to see potential where others might have seen only a waitress. She actively sought out young, ambitious individuals from underprivileged backgrounds, offering guidance, opening doors, and advocating for their inclusion in a world that often remained exclusive. She established a small, informal scholarship fund, personally contributing to help promising students pursue education and opportunities they might otherwise miss. She believed in paying it forward, in creating the kind of ripple effect that had so profoundly altered her own destiny. One evening, Julian Vance invited her to a private dinner at his sprawling estate, a rare and significant invitation usually reserved for high-level board members and influential philanthropists. The mansion was breathtaking, a testament to immense wealth, yet it exuded a subtle elegance rather than overt ostentation. During dinner, as they discussed future projects, Vance leaned back, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Lauren," he began, "I often reflect on that day at the Daily Grind. It was, I must admit, a moment of profound revelation for me. I had grown accustomed to a certain level of cynicism, a quiet acceptance that self-interest often trumped integrity in the world. Your actions, however, were a powerful counter-narrative." He continued, his gaze direct and sincere. "You reminded me that true character is not built in the boardroom, nor is it measured by net worth. It is forged in the quiet moments of decision, when no one is watching, when temptation is strongest. That $10,000, in the grand scheme of Vanguard's assets, was negligible. But the honesty it represented, the integrity it highlighted in you, that, Lauren, was priceless." Lauren felt a blush creep up her neck, touched by his genuine sincerity. "Thank you, Mr. Vance," she replied softly. "I simply did what I believe was right. My mother always taught me that." Vance smiled, a knowing glint in his eyes. "And she taught you well. Your quiet strength, your grounded perspective, and your unwavering ethical compass have become invaluable assets to the Foundation. You bring a human element, a real-world understanding, that all the data and financial models in the world simply cannot replicate." End quote. As the evening drew to a close, Vance walked her to her car. Before she opened the door, he turned to her. "Lauren," he said, his voice serious, "I'm nearing the age where I'm considering my long-term legacy for the foundation. I've been observing your work, your leadership, your dedication. I want you to know, officially, that I view you as a potential successor. Not in Vanguard, of course." He chuckled lightly, "but as the future chair of the Vance Philanthropic Initiatives." Lauren's breath hitched. The future chair. It was a monumental prospect, a position of immense global influence, steering billions of dollars towards humanitarian efforts, shaping policy, inspiring change on an unprecedented scale. It was a testament to a journey that had started with a single, honest choice in a bustling diner. "It's a conversation for the future, of course," Vance added, "but I wanted you to hear it directly from me. It's a reflection of the profound trust and respect I have for you." He extended his hand, a warm, firm handshake. "Thank you, Lauren, for everything, for returning my wallet, and for demonstrating to me and to the world that true integrity is the most valuable currency of all." As Lauren drove away from the opulent estate, the city lights twinkling in the distance, a profound sense of peace settled over her. She was no longer defined by her past struggles, nor by the labels society might have once placed upon her. She was a woman of purpose, a leader driven by integrity, charting a course towards a future she was actively building, one honest decision, one impactful project, one mentored life at a time. The waitress who found a wallet full of cash had not only received a surprise she never expected, but had also quietly, powerfully, changed the world around her, proving that true worth was indeed priceless.